Hey guys, tonight we open the door to a quiet horror, a world that didn't explode but quietly unraveled. This is the story of the 1918 flu, the pandemic that silenced the world. If you find something valuable in what I do here, stories told in dust and ink, not drama and shouting, feel free to subscribe, but only if it feels right. And if you're watching late, let me know where you are and what time it is. I'm always curious who else is wandering the past after midnight. Now dim the lights. We're heading into a time when breath itself became dangerous. It's March 1918. The world is at war. Europe is a trench-lined graveyard. Millions dead, millions more broken. In the United States, troops are training for war. In France, generals are trading men for mud. In Russia, a revolution has set the old order on fire. The world is loud with violence. In Kansas, a soldier named Albert Gitchell reports to the infirmary with a fever. Not unusual, Camp Funston is crowded, filthy, cold. But by lunchtime, over 100 soldiers are coughing. By dinner, it's 500. Within days, the virus is on trains, on ships, in lungs from Boston to Bombay. No one notices, or maybe they do, but the war is bigger, more important, more urgent. So the flu travels in silence, carried by men in uniform and mail in sacks. The first wave is bad, but survivable. Fevers, chills, coughing, fatigue. Some die, but most recover. Doctors are puzzled, but not alarmed. It's just influenza after all, a seasonal nuisance. People stay home, sweat it out, and get back to work, until it mutates. By the fall of 1918, the virus returns, different, meaner, faster. It no longer whispers, it screams. People collapse in the street. Healthy young men go to bed and never wake up. Their skin turns blue, their lungs fill with fluid, and they drown while breathing. It's called heliotrope cyanosis, a sign the lungs are hemorrhaging. It happens fast, sometimes within 24 hours. One doctor called it the most vicious type of pneumonia he'd ever seen. Entire families die within days. Entire communities vanish. Hospitals are overwhelmed. Morgues overflow. In Philadelphia, so many bodies pile up that the city turns to mass graves. Coffins become scarce. In San Francisco, hearses line the streets for hours. In India, funeral pyres burn around the clock. And still, no one can explain what's happening. Newspapers, censored by wartime propaganda laws, downplay the crisis. Politicians pretend it's under control. Scientists are helpless. Antibiotics don't exist. There's no vaccine, just guesswork and gauze. In some cities, people wear gauze masks. In others, they don't. Some get fined for refusing, others riot. One town in Colorado closes its borders entirely, and people begin to disappear. Not vanish, but fade. Behind closed doors, behind curtains, behind masks made from rags soaked in alcohol. Families stop visiting each other. Funerals shrink. Children are told not to play outside. Priests give last rites from doorways. In some towns, schools and churches close. In others, they don't. The difference is measured in graves. And everywhere, people stop eating. Why does that matter? Because food is ritual, routine, the one part of life we don't cancel. We eat when we grieve. We eat when we celebrate. We eat to live, but also to stay human. But during the 1918 flu, kitchens go cold. Grocers die. Farmers fall ill. Entire food supply chains collapse. In Boston, milk deliveries stop. In London, bakers shut their doors. In Tokyo, food shortages hit hard. In New York, children wait in bread lines. In India, where the pandemic coincided with a failed monsoon, at least 12 million die. People eat less. Not just because there's less, but because grief kills appetite. Families are too sick to cook. too scared to share meals. In some homes, a dinner table becomes an isolation ward. Chairs stay empty night after night until no one bothers to set them anymore. Meals become basic: oatmeal, bread, broth, the kinds of food you don't remember because they barely register. Nutrition becomes survival, and joy, already fragile from war, disappears completely. Food no longer comforts, it just keeps people alive. Barely. By early 1919, the virus begins to vanish. Not because it's defeated, but because there's no one left to infect. Entire towns have died. Military camps have emptied. The virus has burned through the world like fire through dry leaves. It's estimated that 50 to 100 million people died. In the United States, life expectancy dropped by 12 years in a single year. Let that sink in. More than the entire death toll of World War I, more than the Black Death in some parts of the world, more than AIDS, Ebola, SARS and COVID combined. But it left behind almost no monuments, no great paintings, no cathedrals filled with stained glass honoring the dead. It left behind silence.
Why? Because it wasn't heroic. There was no enemy to hate, no villains to blame. Just breath, just bad luck. And because it hurt too much. Grief so large it went underground. People didn't want to remember it. They wanted to survive it and move on, and they did. The 1920s arrived in full color: jazz, cars, cinema, parties. A world desperate to feel alive again, to laugh, to dance. But underneath the flapper dresses and champagne glasses, there was an unspoken wound. An entire generation carried the memory of mass death and chose not to speak of it. There were lessons, though. The pandemic changed medicine. It led to new public health systems. The importance of masks, quarantine, clean water, sanitation, all reinforced. It accelerated the development of national health ministries and disease surveillance. So tonight, as we look back, remember this. The 1918 flu didn't just kill millions. It taught us what silence sounds like when it comes not from peace, but from the absence of the living. And in that silence we can hear something else, a promise, that even in the quietest moments of suffering, the world keeps turning, even when it stops eating. Thank you for watching, listening, and more importantly, thinking. Subscribe to the channel if you want more, and let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about this topic and what you'd like to know more about. Good night.